don't want to be with me anymore. Just say that.
You just tell the bitch whoever she is. When I catch her, I'ma beat her ass.
This is the story of Shadae Roscoe, aged 26, a wife and mother who was shot and left to die in her house by her beloved husband, Wilson Taquan Williams, aged 26. She had gone quiet for some days, making her friends and family perform a welfare check, which ultimately led to them discovering her lifeless body in the house while her beloved husband had absconded. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. This story will be taking us to Gatesville, North Carolina. Gatesville is a town in North Carolina with a population of around 238. Gatesville is a small town in the heart of North Carolina that has a lot to offer. It's a great place to raise a family. Gatesville, North Carolina is a relatively safe place to live. Its violent crime rate is 18.2, which is lower than the U.S. average of 22.7. Shadae Nicole Roscoe was born on June 19, 1995 to Terrence and Nikki Roscoe of Gatesville. Shadae was a beautiful soul inside out when she was born. She was the joy of her parent. Her parent had only one child, and that was the beautiful Shadae. Shadae had a very close relationship with her parents when she was growing up, especially her mother, who adored her and loved her deeply. She attended Gates County High School and later became a licensed practical nurse. Shadae found love sometimes in her life with a young man called Wilson Taquan Williams, aged 26. They were a great couple and people were happy for them. They were a nice couple and things were going sweet for them. They couple got married and everything was heading for the moon. They lived in a house that sits on a big piece of farm property without much neighbors around. Shadae was a busy woman with her work, but that did not stop her from being a great wife and mother. She eventually got pregnant and had a baby boy that ended up being the center of her world. Both parents were very happy to have a boy. Wilson showed signs of being a great dad. He was close to his son. They spent enough time with each other doing what father and son usually does. Somewhere along the line, Wilson started acting weird. He began complaining about Shadae. He became insecure. He was worried about her talking to other men, something he could not back up. Life started becoming unbearable for Shadae. She was going through a very rough patch but could not tell anyone about it, not even her mother. Things got really difficult between her and Wilson, but she was trying her best to wither it out. She hoped time will make the difficult time pass, but unfortunately things didn't happen the way she wanted it. On May 3, 2022, Shadae's mother had not heard from her for a bit, which was very unusual about her, so she decided to drive to her house with one of Shadae's friends. Upon getting to the house, her friend went inside where she discovered her lifeless body laying on the floor. Her husband, who was the immediate person to contact, had absconded. He was nowhere to be found. Shadae's mom rang his phone and was able to ask him what he had done to her daughter. He did not answer the question. He only told her to take care of his 5-year-old baby, and he hung up the phone. The police arrived and secured the scene. They declared Shadae dead. The police went ahead to declare Wilson as a person of serious interest. They realized Shadae was involved in a domestic-related incident with Wilson, who had fled the scene prior to the arrival of the deputies. During their investigation, it appeared that Shadae suffered from an apparent gunshot wound. She was pronounced deceased on the scene by Gates County EMS. The Gates County Sheriff's Office issued a "Be on the lookout" BOLO for Williams to surrounding North Carolina counties as well as in Virginia.
A woman is dead following what Gates County Sheriff's deputies are calling a domestic incident. They've charged Wilson Williams with first-degree murder. 10 on Your Side's Andy Fox spoke with the victim's mother.
Shadae Roscoe's mother, with a friend, came here to this home to check on her daughter. When she got here, Shadae was dead. Nikki Roscoe did not want to appear on camera, but gave us this picture of her and her daughter Shadae. Tonight, she weeps.
She was my only child. Loving. She loved. She cared. Her smile.
Ms. Roscoe got a call from a friend.
Her friend called me and told me, "Miss Nikki, could you go check on Shadae?" I was like, "What's going on?"
The friend goes in and relays the bad news.
One of her friends just shook her head, and I just walked out and I couldn't.
Wilson Williams, now charged with first-degree murder, went on the run, but also called Mrs. Roscoe.
He called me and he was like, I called, I was like, what did you do? What did you do? I said, what did you do? He said, I want you to take care of Bryson. And then he hung up.
Bryson is their 5-year-old son.
Wilson could not take the heat anymore on the run, so he turned himself in few days later after the incident. He was charged with first-degree murder. He remains in jail till this day. Nikki, Shadee's mom, described her as someone who was always laughing, always loving, and always cared for people around her, including her husband Wilson. She was said to have covered up the domestic issue from friends and families in order to protect her husband. Her untimely death came months before she was supposed to be in her cousin's wedding. She had gotten her dress for the wedding, and unfortunately there is no Shadae to wear the dress. We do hope Shadae Roscoe's soul continue to rest in peace. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Shadae Roscoe. Please stay safe out there, and see you guys in the next video.